Hello everyone, Invictus. I will again walk around and tell you what I think about the ships and vehicles. Invictus hauls this year don't change, so I only have to do this one time. Very nice. Here we have Graycat MTC, a vehicle that is as big as a house. Look at this, vehicles in Star Citizen are comically oversized. Yes, CRT has some matrix, and yes, CRT doesn't want clipping, but this is absolutely ridiculous. This vehicle is bigger than an M1 Abrams tank. I am really out of words. This is so extremely silly. And why is CRT introducing a new ground vehicle when driving physics in year 13 are still abysmal bad? I've seen small games of indie devs with much better driving physics than Star Citizen has in year 13. Of course, no one expects iRacing or ACC style driving physics, but what we have in the game is absolutely terrible. No mass simulation, no inertia, which leads to massive oversteering. There's no feedback for the driver. Vehicles are just pivoting around a central Z-axis, and even a 70-ton Nova tank on a one-sheet planet jumps around as if it would be made out of paper. Yeah, why give us a new ground vehicle when you cannot even do very basic, halfway decent driving physics, CRT? By the way, this is a one-sheet planet, this is a 70-ton tank, and look at those physics. This is the best CRT can do in year 13 with more than $1 billion, according to Carl Jones. Yeah, there's no mass simulation, no inertia. Vehicles are just pivoting around the central Z-axis, and this thing jumps around as if it would be made out of paper. Yeah, it's really annoying to use ground vehicles in this game. I love to drive in games, but not in Star Citizen. Mirai, Guardian MX, a ship that will get nerfed soon after sale is over. Yeah, CRT likes to do this, sell new shiny OP ships, nerf after sale is over. Stalin's Attack, a new ship that already needs a rework. I understand, ships should have advantages and disadvantages, but it shouldn't be stupid, and CRT always goes for very silly design decisions. For example, she has quite a lot of her firepower in those two side-mounted manned turrets, but those turrets cannot fire directly to the front, cannot fire directly to the rear, cannot fire down, which is very important for a dropship, so pretty much useless turrets. Next problem is this ramp. Look here, you cannot get up. You cannot get up because this is an insurmountable obstacle for our characters still, unless a dev flagged the spot. But this spot was not flagged. You cannot jump up, you cannot vault up, you cannot climb up. I hate it when games are doing this. This wouldn't be any obstacle in real life. Let's go inside because there is more. We have this hangar area, but because ceiling here is so low, not a lot of vehicles and ships fit inside. Then we have the med bay with two size 3 or tier 3 med beds, which is very nice, but look at this wasted space. So much space is wasted. Then we have 8 dismounts, and if you want to leave the ship, there is more. You are right under this thruster, and you are getting knocked down to the ground when engines are running. And of course, engines are running when you just landed on a planet or moon. I'm not kidding. This really happens in the game right now. You are leaving the ship and you are getting knocked down to the ground by those thrusters. This ship needs a rework right now. Super-Hornet Mark II with way too much firepower for a medium fighter. 2 size 4 guns under the wings, 2 size 3 guns on the turret on top, and 2 size 3 guns at the front. With Hornet and Super-Hornet Mark II, CRT throw anything resembling balance out of the window. It's all about let's make more money, let's make more cash. Asgard, new Valkyrie variant. Some people wrote this almost looks like CRT wanted to make a Valkyrie rework, but then marketing said, why not sell this ship as a totally new ship and call her Asgard? I think there can be some truth in this. Unlike Valkyrie, Asgard can actually carry even a Nova tank ballista no problem. while Valkyrie cannot even carry an APC like Spartan. I think my Valkyrie will get turned into this very soon. The only advantage Valkyrie still has, 20 jump seats for dismounts, but what are the chances that you really need 20 jump seats? I think those chances are really, really low. On the other hand, being able to carry a Nova tank, a Ballista, or Centurion can be very useful. She also can carry quite a lot of cargo, I think 180 SCU. The good old Avenger Titan. If you want to support this project, buy a Titan starter package. She is a much better starter ship than Aurora or Mustang. You can do quite a bit with her, and I like Titan. Arrow, light fighter, still a good ship, nothing really bad to say about her. Lightning, a ship we were only supposed to get after release of Squadron 42, but then at the end of 2023, CRG suddenly sold Lightnings to us. Yeah, CRG made a loss of, I think, $10 million in 2023. Yeah, that's the reason why we got Lightning earlier. She was a very good ship when released, but now she is really, really nerfed hard. Still useful, but not worth the money at the moment. Don't know why NPC is shooting at this ship. This game. Year 13, $1 billion, and this is what we're getting for NPCs. Anyway, Guardian, a ship I just don't like. I guess Chris wanted his TIE fighter in Star Citizen. Cockpit view is really bad with those big wings, especially if you're using head tracking devices like Toby or Track IR. I really dislike this ship. Scorpius, another ship that is only in the game because Chris wanted his X-Wing, but she is much bigger than X-Wing. Guns, at the tip of the wings, they are very far spread out. It's very hard to hit targets with this at a close distance. Yes, in Star Citizen, the fire control system takes care of convergence, but there's a minimum distance you cannot hit targets. Look, for example, at this official CRG promo video. Okay, this is really funny. This shows exactly what's bad with wingtip guns. You can see the turret guns hitting the target, but wingtip guns are mostly just flying left and right of the target because distance is too short and your wingtip guns cannot converge on this target. Well, I'm repeating myself over and over again, but wingtip guns are bad on so many levels without giving you any advantage. I guess being cool is more important than having a functional ship design. Yeah, go Chris. Terrible ship. Gladius. Light fighter, still one of the best smaller ships in the game. I like Gladius. Nice ship. Argo MPV tractor. I like Argo MPVs, but instead of selling us this tractor beam, CRG made a ship with this tractor beam. So if you want this, you have to buy this ship. Mantis, this ship can pull other ships out of Quantum and can prevent other ships to go into Quantum. Very useful for that role, but look at those engines. Vector of thrust is way above center of mass. This ship would just tumble in space and in atmosphere. Terrapin Medic, a medical variant of Terrapin. Again, why not make it so that it's modular? Let's say I have a base Terrapin, and if I want to, I can turn her into a medical Terrapin this day and back to normal Terrapin after this. No, instead you have to buy a completely new ship. And look at this jump seat. CRG put the seat on because there was a lot of backlash. But this is the worst implementation of a seat and it doesn't even work. Now he is sitting in air. Chris, this is not a jump seat. This is just a camping stool. Yeah, this ship shouldn't exist as a variant. This ship should just be a module. But again, CRG is only caring about how much money they make. Medical Pisces, a ship I like very much, but again, won't make it a module. You can have a normal Pisces, if you want to, you can turn it into a medical Pisces. No, you have to buy a completely new ship for this. Redeemer, a ship CRG totally nerfed to the ground, not worth the money. This ship could have been really good, but it's in a terrible state. Hammerhead, a ship that is supposed to protect your ships against small and agile fighters, a job she cannot do because turret gameplay is absolutely terrible for many patches by now. Projectile speed is way too low. Good luck hitting small and agile fighters. The next problem, Captain has no tools to gather any tactical awareness other than a 2D radar screen, which shows very little, and you can try to look out of the window, which is not helpful. Yeah, this is just bad. Almost no tactical awareness for the captain. Then we have this hole in the neck that doesn't serve any purpose. This hole could be room, for example an armory, something Hammerhead doesn't have. Why is this hole in the neck? As Yachi Dev said, because it looked cool. And right now Hammerhead gets deleted in like 10 seconds by a Idris eraser gun. So this ship is absolutely not worth the money. I wouldn't pay $10 for this ship in its current state, in a very sorry state. Vanguard Harbinger, I always liked the Vanguards. In 3.6 we got a Vanguard rework, but CRG didn't address any of the points of the community. Instead they just put in some components and made some visual changes. Cockpit view is not perfect. You have this big fat bar right in your face. A big fat bar that doesn't serve any purpose. Still, I like Vanguards. Ursa Medical, I like Ursas, but again, driving physics are so terrible. Still, in year 13, it's not fun to use ground vehicles in this game, and on top of this, almost every spot is cluttered with stones and boulders. Vehicles of the Atlas platform, Spartan, Centurion and Ballista. Those vehicles are way too tall. Still, they have almost no ground clearance. And look at this, CRG is cheating. CRG is moving chassis up to make it look like those vehicles have somewhat of a ground clearance. Here, look at this, it's so obvious. But they don't. This ramp is actually touching the ground. And this small stone thingy would totally block a ballista. That's so silly. I never understood why CRG doesn't look at real 8x8 military trucks and go from there. Look at this photo, CRG. Do you notice something? Yes, real 8x8 military trucks actually have some ground clearance, and they don't have something in the middle that would totally neglect any ground clearance. And again, look at this, CRG is faking. Chassis is actually way lower. Yeah, ballistas, I mean Atlas platform vehicles, get stuck on almost everything. One of the reasons is, of course, Chris insists on a standing walkway interior, and in this game, players and NPCs are Michelin men, but it's not an excuse. That's just silly. Spartan, an APC, doesn't even fit into a Valkyrie. Centurion has his turret with 4 size 4 guns, which is very nice, but once again CRG totally fucked it up. Very limited gun depression, so good luck hitting things on the ground, and only 70 degrees of gun elevation. Almost every anti-aircraft gun ever made has around 90 degrees of gun elevation because you want to hit things in the sky. But no, CRG doesn't need this. Again, no common sense to be found. Don't buy any of the Atlas platform vehicles. Those are just way overpriced, way too impractical, way too tall, no ground clearance. Good luck trying to drive with those things in the game. You get stuck on everything. Nova Tank, where do I start? This thing is as big as a house. Nova Tank is much bigger than a World War II super heavy mouse tank. But Nova Tank still only has -5 degrees of gun depression. Why? Because some genius put a gun sight under the barrel. Terrain is not flat, we don't want flat terrain in Star Citizen. Good luck trying to hit things that are below you with only -5 degrees of gun depression. And of course driving physics are terrible. And look, wheels are clipping into the tracks, and those tracks are totally silly constructed. Okay, I'm sounding like a broken record. CRG, why don't you look at real military vehicles and start from there? Why are you always going for your absolutely terrible, silly and, sorry, stupid designs? By the way, there's a mini turret on the turret, and it's even worse with this thing. You cannot hit nearby infantry with this turret because gun depression of this mini turret is not exactly fantastic either. Cyclone. I like cyclones, but look again at those wheels. Chris, we know how to make wheels. Those wheels would not work in real life. There's a cogwheel inside the rim. What would happen if you would drive this thing off-road? You would get stones and sand inside this rim, and your cogwheel would get jammed. By the way, again, CRG is faking this. On live, this attachment point is at the bottom, but now it's at a 3 o'clock position. So CRG, you know your designs are terribly bad, but instead of fixing it, you are faking it. The light storm tank. This thing is even more of a joke. It's even wider than a Nova tank. This light tank is much bigger than a World War II super heavy mouse tank. Let this sink in. And of course, driving this is absolutely terrible. Those split tracks don't offer any advantage. This looks like a 4-year-old would have designed it. Nova tank got a new gun, a ballistic Gatling. Right now you can only buy this gun with cash in the shop, not in-game. Cyclone MT, same silly wheels like the other Cyclones. She has 4 size 2 missiles in a turret and 1 size 1 gun. Do you notice something? There's supposed to be a guy standing in a turret, firing missiles, and this gun, he doesn't even have a blast shield. So he gets rocket exhaust in his face. Again, I understand it's a game. I understand there's some fantasy involved. I understand it's science fiction. But with a bit of common sense, this game could be so much better. Instead, we have all those silly, comically stupid designs. This was all I could find. I didn't see an Eclipse or a Teleator. I'm not sure if they are even displayed. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Don't know why NPC is shooting at this ship. This game. Year 13, $1 billion, and this is what we're getting for NPCs. What he is shooting at? Why is this NPC shooting at the ship? Are you okay, sir? What happens when I'm standing in the way? Do I get hit? Do I die? Okay, let's just go. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.